is dead. My wife left. She couldn't stand to be in the house.
We're just trying to seek the truth. That's all.
Let it come out in court.
The surface of these shelves is pretty slick. If Luke had been trying to climb them, it's easy to see how he may have slipped.
Police found Luke's fingerprints all over those shelves.
And his body was found right here. The bookcase didn't topple over. I guess it's not surprising. It probably weighs a few hundred pounds, but Luke was so small he wouldn't have moved it.
What'd the medical examiner find?
Not much. He said Luke's injuries could have been caused by a fall or a beating.
Oh, that's helpful. If Luke fell from the top shelf and hit his head on the floor, the impact would have killed him.
You said if. You can't tell for sure either?
No. See, with head injuries like this, there's so much fracturing. It's hard to know the exact cause of death.
But what about the DA's story? Jenny's written confession said that she beat Luke with a bat here, but there's no blood spatter.
No, the bat would have been covered in blood. Was it?
No, it was clean too. Jenny's written confession said that she washed it off in the upstairs bathroom.
That's convenient for them.
I'll say. There wasn't any blood in the hall or the sink. Jenny's confession wasn't just false, it was factually wrong.
Look, the first thing your client says to me was, it's my fault. Now, what am I supposed to do? Stop asking the questions?
Might have been good to follow the law and get her parents here.
So they could hire you to shut her up? Look, she wanted to talk. She was begging to talk.
You made her talk.
I can't make anyone do anything.
Look, detective, I know you. You break gangbangers. Breaking a 15-year-old girl? That must have been easy.
It was. You know why? Because she felt guilty. Now, she confessed 3 times. To me, the 911 operator, and to Craig Winters. Look, what I did here was no different than what cops were doing when you were a prosecutor, and you didn't seem to have a problem with it then.
This document states that you're agreeing to waive your Miranda rights to counsel and to remain silent. Now, do you want to read it before you sign it?
No, that's okay. I already have.
Jenny Marshall is smart, an honor student. She understood exactly what she was doing.
Mr. Graves, besides your client's recent denial, what proof do you have that this is a false confession?
The totality of the circumstances. She was scared. The police lied to her and threatened her.
They can do that. Those are legal police tactics.
Keeping her from seeing her parents was illegal.
Hey, she took back her request to see her parents because she wanted to try and talk her way out of this. She couldn't.
Come on. What she was forced to say wasn't even accurate. She said she used a baseball bat. There was no blood spatter at the scene. There was no blood on the bat or the sink because it didn't happen. This was an accident, Your Honor.
Yes, there are some factual inconsistencies in her confession. We don't deny that. It doesn't matter. The confession stands alone. We don't need to corroborate it to get it admitted. And by the way, would we even be here if Jenny was a girl from South Central LA? Of course not. But a girl with rich lawyers gets the benefit of the doubt? Jenny Marshall's confession must still be admitted under the law. The public expects this court to follow the law.
I am compelled to rule that the defendant's confession is admissible at trial.
Your Honor, with all due respect.
I will instruct the jury that they should decide for themselves if the confession is true, and that's it.
Fine. We just have to win this at trial.
Okay, the confession's coming in at trial. We knew it might. And we can still argue that it's false.
Juries love confessions, Tom. Makes their job real easy.
Even if we can prove it was false, it won't be enough. When a child dies, the jury wants to hold someone responsible. Right now, all they've got is Jenny.
I think Luke fell off that bookcase. Based on what we saw at the house, it makes the most sense. No one's to blame.
The beauty of law is that someone is always to blame. The question is, who? And we all know the answer to that, don't we? It's the elephant in the living room. We don't want to say it because it seems mean. But sometimes our job is to be mean on behalf of our client. Sorry, but it's the truth.
You want to blame Luke's parents for killing him?
No, not criminally. But who puts a 10-foot high bookcase where a kid can climb on it?
We won't win. The juries will hate us.
Yeah, but Ron's got a point. Jenny warned them that the bookcase was a danger.
Blame grieving parents? It's too risky.
Forget blaming them. It's about showing the jury this was an accident that could have been avoided, not a crime. An innocent 15-year-old girl shouldn't go to prison for something she didn't do.
The focus group understands that it could have been an accident and the parents may have been to blame. But you've got to get that story out before they hear about Jenny's confession.
Why first?
Trials are about giving the jury information. Timing is everything. If they hear about the confession, they don't hear anything else. If they hear about the accident first, they're open to it.
But how do we talk about our story first? We don't get to start the case. The DA does.
Leave it to me. I have a plan.
Good. And if you can neutralize the confession, you might win.
Leave that to me. We're going to create a TV segment featuring our interrogation expert. We'll give it to local news channels to reach potential jurors.
You can't just create news.
Sure we can. The government does it all the time. They're called video news releases. They look like real news reports, but they're actually promotional pieces given to TV stations to air. Overworked and understaffed local affiliates are more than happy to take the segment. News stations will air the piece as if they produced it themselves. And we'll get our story out through television and internet broadcasts. Segment turned out well. How did it play with potential jurors?
My polling shows that potential jurors are open to the idea of a false confession, but Luther has to make sure that they hear about the accident first.
Do we have any parents here? Raise your hands. This is a very hard case. It involves the death of a child. And as a father, I wouldn't want to be on this jury. Does anyone else feel that way? Jury number one, let me ask you. Has your child ever been hurt? Accidentally?
My daughter broke her arm playing on a swing set at the park.
Accidents at the park. We can all relate to that. Now, when it happened, did you blame someone for it? Someone at the park?
No,
Why not?
because it was an accident. There was no one to blame.
Do you think you could have prevented it?
I suppose so, if I had been watching her more closely.
I know how you feel. As parents, we want to do everything we can to keep our kids safe. Don't we?
You son of a bitch. You're gonna say this is our fault? Luke was our life.
I don't blame him for being angry. I would be.
You did your job. You got our story out. You had to.
Yeah. Are we doing the right thing, Ron? We can't prove for sure this was an accident.
We don't have to. The DA has to prove it wasn't an accident. But the medical examiner can't say for sure what killed Luke. The physical evidence doesn't point to murder either. That adds up to reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt. She confessed to murder.
No, but we're sticking with accident. Right now, the truth is the only thing we've got going for us.
It was my fault. I was mad at Luke. I threatened him.
She's played the confession tape 5 times. It's killing us.
I wouldn't be so sure. The more she plays it, the less impact it has. The defense on the Rodney King case showed the beating so much. The jury stopped caring.
What was the defendant's attitude when she spoke to you?
In general, she was calm. She only got upset when she talked about how she killed the boy. But I think she was relieved to get it off her chest. Most defendants who confess, they feel relief.
What is it you do for a living? What is your job?
I'm a detective. I solve crimes.
Really? I thought a detective's job was to investigate crimes.
I don't see the difference.
Solving means you're out to get someone. Investigating means you're willing to go wherever the evidence takes you. You made up your mind Jenny Marshall killed Luke the moment you took her to the station, didn't you?
Once she said it was her fault, I sure did, yes.
You never considered that Luke's death may have been an accident.
I didn't have to. Once your client said she killed the boy.
After you had kept her in the police station overnight without counsel or her parents? After she hadn't slept for 24 hours? After you had lied to her about evidence you never had and threatened that she would get the death penalty unless she confessed?
All I did was get her to tell the truth, just like in any other case.
But in this case, you manipulated the so-called truth, didn't you?
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Your watch. It says 7:30 here. Then, 4:50. If you rewind the tape just a few seconds back. Now, you took different parts of Jenny's coerced state